Good evening, everybody. Matt Geary here for the Geek Pridecast on this Monday evening. With me tonight, we have my co-host and chatterbox, Peter Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
And our special guest tonight, Nigel Matthews.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. And, hi, everybody.
Right. So, Nigel, what are you? What do you do? What's your thing? Tell us about yourself.
So, I've listened to your podcast, and I love that introduction. Do you know what I mean? It's so like every podcast, it's the same introduction, and it's great. I love it. Well, people mostly probably know me as I am the CEO of Games Quest. Love or hate us, most people love us. Some people hate us. We are probably one of the leading crowdfunding fulfillment partners in Europe right now, I would say. My other sits, which is one you heard, my little side project that I'm doing is I'm also co-founder of a company called MysteryandAdventureGames, and we are launching our very own first crowdfunding project for the first time, which is all to do about role playing as a thing as well. So I'm coming over to the other side of the fence. I preach the gospel to lots of publishers about what they need to do to be successful on crowdfunding, and now I have to go and practice what I preach, and I hope I get it right.
Games Quest, what is a crowd fulfillment partner?
Sure. Well, your traditional model of fulfillment is get it to my warehouse, I'll put it on my shelf, you upload your information, or you send me your data, and then I'll ship everything out. That's it. There's no real value add other than cheap shipping, reasonably good packaging and accuracy in terms of making sure that you get your stuff out there. And there are lots of really good fulfillment companies out there that do that. Day out, day in, where you can send your product in, put it on the shelf, link up your Shopify site, and they'll go and pick, pack, and post your items for you. We're very different to that. At the core, we make our money through picking and packing and sending your items out. But we're very, very specialist in the market. We only work in the crowdfunding arena, and we only work within the board game, card game, role-playing sphere. So we're very specialised. And what we've done over the years is like when I first started this business, and you might recognise the name of a company called Dr. Finn Games, Biblios Dice, and a few other games like that. Quickly followed by you recognise the Ed on the Go, but it's Eduardo Baraf, who was my second customer. And very quickly we realized that the crowdfunding publishers are serial entrepreneurs. They basically, once they have a success, they bring out another game and another expansion, another game. So it's serial. So very early on we went, actually we do a good job for these people and add some value. Then they'll just keep coming back. They'll just keep coming back project after project after project. And so we decided particularly, with the COVID side, because we were also very large online retailer. So probably I was an Amazon whore, to coin a phrase. I was on every single Amazon site in the world. But what that taught me was everything about international shipping. And so what we decided to do, particularly after COVID, was shut down that retail arena and fully focus on the fulfillment side of the business, and to be able to then throw resources and as much as we could into adding value to the publisher, because the amount of times the publishers came to me after a failure on Kickstarter and would say, "Oh my God, we so wish we'd spoken to you before." Just we did. We now go out to the market and we talk to a good dozen budding entrepreneurs or potential people who are looking at Kickstarter and go, okay, we're going to go, and we give them tough love. We really do, because I've done about 5,000 projects in the last 8 years on crowdfunding. So we do know, and we speak to our publishers and our partners. I see one ring behind you there, Free League, and who's one of our biggest customers. Absolutely. And we know the guys really well, and we've seen what they do and what they need to do, and what you need to go and do to be successful. So we try to pre-launch, work out the logistics strategy for the launch, because people don't realize how important logistics are. And our job is to go out there and seek the best worldwide fulfillment that we possibly can for our clients, and to be able to not just find that, but able to enable that as well when the time comes, and also then to tell them what they need to do to succeed. And marketing is so vital. It's so vital to crowdfunding, and I call it my slope of success, but help them build that slope of success up. Lots of criteria, from marketing to logistics to, I mean, for example, educating particularly American publishers to the size of the European market, for example, and encourage translation and all these things to do. And we don't actually do a lot for them, but we add the knowledge and the expertise for them to be able to go there. And our motto is, well, the more backers you get, the more parcels I ship. You make money, I make money. And so we try to partner right the way across and advise a guide about retail and distribution, about making introductions. We've got very good inroads into distribution, like Asthma Day. We can introduce people across America. So hopefully we add a lot of value to that chain, as well as where we make the money, which is the pick, the pack, and the post. And people sometimes moan about that we take too long, but they don't realize how complex and important it is to get things right. And we have a lot of armchair logistic warriors out there who think they know far better than we do, and honestly, they come work for me if they think they can do better than my team. But so basically, our job is, and right through the customer support, our job is hopefully we do enough that they come coming back. We're not perfect. We are so not perfect. Any logistics company out there that say they're perfect are lying through their teeth, because logistics is a messy business. Things can go wrong. From maybe our courier let us down, or customs decide to get involved, or for whatever reason, things can go wrong. But we always, without any shadow of a doubt, always put them right if we can. So that's the difference between what we call ourselves a crowdfunding partner, to add values right across the chain, to a traditional fulfillment company that'll just pick, pack, and post them. So thanks very much.
So if I start a Kickstarter, when do I get you guys on board? Is it something that I need to do, to sort out production and things like that, or are you just there for fulfillment? How does?
We're just there for fulfillment. No, I do advise to tell people who we think are the best manufacturers out there, and who they should go and talk to. So people say to me, hey, I'm thinking of using Panda, Lompak, E-Star, Magic Craft, What's Games. Absolutely, thumbs up. Yeah. I give them that a little bit of pat on the back and saying, well done. These are the good people that's out there. So no, talking to us as far in advance as you come. Look, we don't get involved in game design, well, apart from my own, obviously, which we'll come to. But that's all. You do the hard work. You're doing the game design and everything as well, and you're looking at you and trying to sort your manufacturing. But the sooner you engage with us, so that we can tell you what we think, and it's not that I have a crystal ball, because I don't, but I've seen enough and know enough to know what you need to do to go and succeed. And then, because honestly, you will not believe the amount of people that come to us a week before they're going to launch, and they're so not ready. They're so, I think they can just slam up a campaign onto Kickstarter with 100 followers, and they're going to succeed because they think they're going to spend money advertising. As soon as they go like, no, you're so going to fail, and here's the reasons why you're going to fail. And I say we give people tough love, but it's in our best interest for them to succeed.
I think people need it. We haven't done anything serious. Like back in the day, we did some charity ones for like catalogs, and even they were stressful and not what we sort of expected. And you get a lot of, and I've backed many Kickstarters in my life, as you can probably see from the vast swathes of things behind me. And
well, you got War Room.
Yeah, I did. I got War Room.
Have you played War Room yet?
Have
you played it yet?
I'm playing it at Christmas and bringing it back for me and my bro to play, because nobody else.
Oh,
Access
we spent the weekend. We literally, five of us spent the weekend a couple of months ago, and literally both on a Saturday and Sunday and set it up. And we did the fulfillment for it as well. And and he donated a copy to it. And it's it's a cross between Axis and Allies, and I'm very much more in debt to Axis and Allies. But it's
Axis and Allies is by far Axis and Allies Global. So the massive one you get, where it's sort of Pacific and European theaters together, is possibly one of my favorite games of all time. Like I wrote a massive article for the website on it, just like saying it's probably the biggest game you'll never play, but you should, because of X, Y, and Z. And so when War Room came out, I was just like, oh my god, I can't remember the guy's name. Where is his name? Larry Harris, that's it. Who obviously was behind Axis and Allies. I was just like, oh, I'm totally have to get on this. So because my mates are all useless and they don't like big, massive, long games that take 14 hours plus, I thought I'd
funny that.
So I'm going to bring it back, because me and my brother, we play Axis and Allies every Christmas, and I thought, well, we'll bring this one back and we'll sit there at my mum's table and we'll play it for 2 days solid. So that'll be it. But yeah, so like the whole Kickstarter, like we've had loads of people on the podcast in the past, and it sort of opened my eyes quite a lot about all the stresses and the things that can go wrong and the stuff behind what's going on for manufacturers, publishers. And I felt quite guilty, because I've been that guy I'm generally quite a patient person. And I'll wait, for a long time, and then suddenly a game won't turn up, and then you start getting annoyed because they're not updating you, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, and then you just jump to conclusions. And we talked to some of them about, these, one of the guys, and I'll not mention it, but they had a bad sort of fulfillment, and he told me about everything that was going on in the background. I felt so shitty, because there's so much shit that can go wrong, and things that can go wrong on every little bit of avenue, that it's just like, okay, maybe I need to cut people a break.
And on top of that, international logistics, exports, customs, that's complex. That is, you're dealing with like export controls and customs and trade agreements and the whole legal aspect. That's another complexity. So I kind of had to tip my hat to you, because I've been able to navigate all that and still deliver.
Everybody went, oh, Brexit must have been a nightmare. Not half as a nightmare as the new VAT laws in 2021. I'm still not. That was a lot worse than Brexit, I can tell you.
Random question: does GDPR come into this? Obviously, because you're dealing with personal information, and then there's a lot more protections around personal information in regard to location and address and name. Does that become
a little bit? We are careful about GDPR. A lot of people like BackerKit, etc., have made a very good way of being able to utilize the backer data they're given under their terms and conditions. But we're very, very strict on it, because they're not our customers. We try to treat backers as our customers. But they're not our customers. They are our publishers' customers, and so we're very, very, very super careful about GDPR and what we can do with the data. Now, lucky under GDPR, we're fully entitled to be able to facilitate the data for what it's meant to do, which is to deliver their goods right the way through. So therefore, we have to keep it. But yeah, we're pretty good at being able to purge data in our system. In our portal, it's very easy to do that, and obviously any backer data is kept secure and for a certain amount of time, because the problem with GDPR is that we had a return parcel from Bolivia the other day. It had been there for 7 months before it got returned to us. If we purged the data after 3 months, we wouldn't have been able to do anything to help our customer. And so things and people are mad. Honestly, backers just like, they'll come back to us after 6 months and go, I didn't receive my pledge. 6 months, for God's sake. But anyway. So.
Yeah, you got to think about it also as well, which another aspects I never really considered before, because I've been happily living in the same house for well over 10 years now, is most backers are younger, I find, especially gaming wise, to be younger, a bit more disposable income. And they're like students are moving around a lot more. So you can actually updating their address and destinations. That's a headache.
Yeah, it is.
And
That's happened to me a couple of times. So like thankfully I used to live like about 10 minutes down the road, and my old neighbors would tell me when something turned up, and I was like, I'm sure I changed that address, but like 3 or 4 Kickstarters that I'd backed millennia ago that just turned up in my old address. I was like, I'm sure I changed those, but obviously didn't, and I had to go down and get them from there.
Yeah, we've just literally added now the next last piece of the jigsaw to do another check for behalf of our publishers. So now we send out, when, like, for example, Orange Nebula is there unsettled too. We just it is complex, for example. So we've had it for 3 weeks, but we normally say we can get it out within 3 weeks. But the data has been very complex, particularly with shipping into the EU from the UK. So now this week, address verification emails will go out. So that everybody will get an email. So we are now in the final stages of getting the ship out. This is your last chance.
This is your last chance.
You had it from the publisher. This is your very last chance. And they can literally change it live in our portal. So when people go like, it should have gone out by now. Well, there's lots of steps before it can go out.
Have you ever had? So I'm trying to think. I've had maybe 3 Kickstarters that have fallen on their arse and I've lost money in. 2 of them are tech, and one of them is a sort of a model company, which I'm still very upset about now. But have you ever had one where they haven't fulfilled, and have you caught any flack from that because you were associated with them?
We are, yes. We've had that, particularly in the early days, which is why we changed our model that we get prepayments before a project goes out the door on a most occasion, because we've been kind of stung. But yeah, it happens. Particularly after COVID. For example, Blacklist Games with their fantasy series miniatures, which are just absolutely fantastic. Alex at Blacklist is, I can't say too much, but he was one of the ones, and now he's fine now, and we've actually shipped out the very last of what was left over from that. But they basically, like a few others in Grimlord Games is probably another example that fell upon the hard time because of the shipping disaster. Because literally we were quoting 40-foot containers for less than $2,500, $3,000 pre-COVID. At some point 40-foot containers were $30,000.
Ooh.
30,000. And I know, for example, where you budget 50, 60 grand to get your stuff out is now £250,000. Well, that's all your profit gone. So what do you do? Do you hold fire? Do you store them in China? Do you get them shipping out? And some people panic and well, let's get it out now. It could be worse. And a lot of companies, how some companies survived to manage to get their stuff out of China post-COVID was just is unbelievable. But yeah, there's there have been a few companies that have and particularly in the early days without what I call the business acumen of what it is. So people would get into this phrase where Kickstarter was easy and they could actually launch another Kickstarter before delivering the next one. And this is why Kickstarter particularly have clamped down on where you can't, until it's been delivered, we're not allowing you to launch another one, because people would be rolling over. They'd be funding the previous project with the revenue from the second one.
Yeah, like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
that sounds a lot like
getting caught into that cycle. But I can't name stuff, but companies do struggle.
Well, I know one Make Believe Games is a classic example of that. They did like something, the Cryptex, and basically there was kind of like trying to do Kickstarter kind of get revenue, but the games was not being delivered, and eventually its Mark Naylor Games had to come in and basically Maple Leafs Games were declared bankrupt, the assets liquidated, and Mark Naylor Games came in and basically bought it up.
It wasn't Make Believe Games, was it? It was no, it was Peter Blerkenham. Name temporarily escapes me now, but yeah, so I don't think it was Make Believe Games. But I know the situation. I know exactly what's going on with that as well.
And I got my
still not very clear cut. Let's put it that way. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got Cryptex. I backed this 5 years ago as a birthday present for my wife, and eventually gave it to her in August this year. It was like, here's your birthday present 4 years too late.
I've got this is quite funny. Did you know that obviously the new Hero Quest came out from Hasbro, but before that happened, there was a Spanish company that called Games Quest who did the 25th anniversary of Hero Quest. I backed that, and I'm still waiting on it. Nearly 10 years? I think it's going to be the 35th anniversary or something now, because all the legal stuff that's gone through, and they're still saying they're going to deliver it. It's getting its name changed to Quest spelt backwards, so to Quest, and then Quest spelt forwards. So it's like a Q in the middle, and it's basically Quest on either side. And they're still saying it's going to come through, and I'm just like, I've just written off 110 quid. That sort of was there, and if it comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's just that's my patience is. When it's 10 years.
10 years.
That being said, if you backed Star Citizen, I guess you're still pretty much in the same thing, with that.
I think if you don't get a game within 4 years, you can kiss it goodbye, really, can't you?
Oh yeah.
But some games are incredibly complicated. We did Europa Universalis, and those guys. I mean, that's a really in-depth kind of complex game, and
I got that as well. Got that as well.
You've obviously got quite a lot from me.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to do a search tomorrow on Portal. I'll probably see a lot of stuff that we've.
Just Geek Pride's going to feature in that a lot. Trust me.
I haven't played it.
No, you're right. And this is the thing. Let me just put it out there, because some people I had a new customer going, "Oh, you've got bad 29 reviews on Trustpilot, and they're not all very good." And I say to so Matt, right, it's a question you as a backer. I'm going to put it on the spot now. You've had War Room from me, you've had European University. You've probably had no problems with it. Have you ever gone on to Google Review and said, Games Quest is great, they deliver my package?
No, you just, it's just, it just hurts. I'm really bad for that. It's just...
No. And why should you? You shouldn't need to. We've done our job. You shouldn't need to. You're contracted to the publisher. And but when people have a bad experience with a package from us, they leave us a negative review, and I'm going because we've done 250,000 parcels this year, right? 250,000. But nobody who's had a successful parcel delivered will go, yeah, Games Quest are great. The odd one does, but we're trying to achieve that. So Matt, can you leave me a positive review?
I feel guilty now. I feel guilty now. Yeah. Well, I understand, having had every game I've had, and I've backed. I'm on nearly 80 Kickstarters. I think and I'm
that's got a problem.
No, that's me trying to stop, to the point where I've only backed a couple recently because I had to stop, because it was getting to the point where it's oh, shiny thing, and I was just selling stuff as it was coming through the door, because I was just I'm never going to play this game. I got taken away by the shiny plastic crack that came in, and I need to stop. But yeah, I'm quite patient when it comes to waiting for things generally, and understanding of more so now after talking to people, that when shit happens. But yeah, I would never, the only time I've ever sort of given a review has been a really bad one, because somebody's really, really fucked me off, and then I'll fucking, so that's probably why. It's just you don't do the good stuff, because you kind of, well, that's their job, they do the thing, and you don't really think about it. But then if you're real, something bad happens, and you're all and you say your thing.
The thing is, as well, is that most people are actually, a vast majority of Kickstarter players are exactly like you. They're happy, they wait, they're patient, and of course, but that's tiny minority that make a very big vocal noise, and they're fully entitled to, by the way, but they make a lot of noise, and of course the publishers all listen to that small wave of noise that are coming through, and you go like, you know. And one of our publishers, it's a funny story. But yeah, we had some of their super backers were moaning and saying, and they started a petition online to move from Games Quest to another fulfillment company, and like this campaign's got about like 5,000-6,000 backers, and 3 people signed it. And it was the 3 that had been making the vocal noise, who had then duplicated accounts to try and make even more noise. It's just like, have you not got actually anything better with your time to do? You're going to get your parcel. We are a reputable company. We do a good job most of the time. 99% of the time we do a good job.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, fulfillment company is basically IT support. When things are fine, you don't even know they're there.
Correct.
When things go wrong, they're immediately in the firing line.
That's a really good. I'm going to use that analogy, Peter. That's a really good analogy.
Okay,
we are the IT world of fulfillment.
Well, you are. I mean, like, though, when things go wrong, you're in the crosshairs. But when they're going right, no one knows. No one. You're the silent partner almost, because it's the publisher that's kind of, oh, I did this game, and you're the guys back going, yeah, we delivered it as well.
Yeah, I feel that because I do sort of like tech and innovation in my job, and if you do things right, it's just normal. As soon as something goes wrong, your neck is literally you're getting absolutely beasted on Teams for not doing something or a mistake, and I'm like, but what about all the good stuff I do?
I did an article recently for IT Pro, which is basically what have IT support ever done for us?
Yeah.
And it basically was everything.
I'm trying to look at the game. I'm trying to see, is there a thing on the Games Quest website for all the games that you've sent out? Because I feel like I need to know how much I've funded you guys in the past.
Well, I've got about 2 shelves worth of role-playing games from.
Sorry, Matt, I do apologise. I lost you there for about 8 seconds. So it was all I got was. Is there anything on the Games Quest site and then?
Oh yeah, so I'm just trying to see how much money I funded for you guys in my history and stuff. I was going through the things.
Yeah, well, I think pre-Liga we must be on project like.
Well, that's just one shelf of games. Yeah. I've got another one.
See, but the thing is, Pete says, he's fun, but these are free. Pete gets all these nice freebies, you see, because he's all into his RPGs. I'm all about the plastic crack. It's all about plastic things and shiny miniatures and.
Well, we did about 30 odd, about 35 projects for Simon until they did. But we didn't lose Simon because we were a bad company. We lost it because of Brexit and VAT, and they decided to use this company in Holland. But I'm still friends with them and stuff as well. But we've been Modifius now. It's probably been my longest customer now. But and Free League and together. So, but yeah.
No, yeah. All right. So we've done that side. We're going to cross the picket line and move on to your new venture. Mystery and Adventure Games. So tell us about it.
So a long time ago, I don't really remember.
I can still remember.
Song there, but there we go. So I used to do my first foray into when I first started role playing was obviously D&D, and then Steve Jackson's the Fantasy Trip. I was massive into the Fantasy Trip, and then I got into play by mail games. So I was a massive. I had my own company called MysteryandAdventureGames. Bizarrely, I had a role-playing game called Infinite Adventures, World of Vengeance. I used to play that, and then Sloth Enterprises with their kind of games. I used to sit on loads of panels and so forth when I was in quite big into the play-by-mail arena. Yeah. And so I had my own role-playing game. It was a hand-moderated, free-formatted role-playing game called Infinite Adventures. And that's kind of what it is. I had die-line maps. It was brilliant, And because my version of it is, you can't run a role-playing game and play by mail. There's no way that a GM is going to sit there and roll a bloody dice and you can't even see it. It's just not happening. just that happening. So my idea is that it's all down to your imagination. It's like a story that involves in going. But soon came to realise that you couldn't actually make any money there. It was very time-consuming and hard work. But yeah, the die-line map. It was called Infinite Adventures. It was brilliant. So that was kind of my kind of foray. And then we moved on to we used to run a separate, because I don't know if you've had a convention called Manicon that was in Birmingham. There you had lots of risk and stuff. We had our own little Manicon kind of going, where we basically, it was like a lot of play-by-mailers who would come together. We played board games and role-playing games, etc. as well. And we were at Reading one year, at a games convention in Reading, and we were watching Vampire Masquerade being played, and which is free format role-playing. And I thought, I like the idea, but I started talking to my friend and my friend Neil, and I went like, wouldn't it be a good idea? We could do our own at Manicon. We could write our own murder mystery. We could run our oon free format, like, and make it a murder mystery. And he went, yeah, that's a really good idea. I'll do that with you. So we did. We wrote our own free formatted role playing murder mystery game for like 24 players, and it was like, people. It was a murder mystery because a murder had happened. Like, for example, one of the ones we did was a Roman one where Caesar's been killed.
All right.
He's been found with 13 daggers in him, and you think, well, who killed him? Well, all right, but really, to be honest with you, a lot of it was irrelevant about the murder. You were trying to find a murder to enhance your political or military gain within the environment. So that particular game was who is going to become the next emperor. And so lots of people had their own objectives, like the religion wanted to make sure that they were going to have a pro, Venus emperor, for example. So lots of mayhem, murder, mystery, all going on. You could kill people, you could be murdered, and you had your own objectives, and you also had, things you had to role play. So if you're playing Claudius, you had to talk with a stutter all night, and really would encourage really proper, brilliant role playing going on, and so we kind of did that. And eventually we'd done a lot of conventions. We'd go to games days, and we met a friend of Neil's, was a guy called Richard Williams, who'd won like lots of the D&D Opens in mid 90s. I think Gary Gygax was GM in one, and he won best role play in the British Open for D&D, etc. And so he was writing with us, and that kind of developed. And when we launched a company called Near Death Experience, it was all about running. It was an event-based game where basically corporate people could use it to help people develop their networking skills, communication skills, etc. as well. But we're all doing it part-time, and so it never really kind of flew off, off the ground. And so eventually we kind of went our ways. I got into things like Civilization, and I became a computer nerd, and as we all do, and kind of, and I hadn't seen Richard and Neil. There was 5 of us originally, but Richard and Neil were the kind of main people behind it. And so, I lost touch with the guys, and obviously now with knowing what I know and working with the likes of Medifus and role playing and Free League and all these guys, and seeing how popular and growth the RPG market has become, I just suddenly thought one day, well, there's nothing out there that you can run a game, an event-based game, because you see like things like Blood on the Clock Tower and stuff, and these sorts of things, which is still all scripted. Everything is still scripted, so I felt there was nothing out there that gives that really true role-playing experience without the dice, without anything else like that. You can actually properly role play a character for an evening, that's going to really have you for 3 hours really immerse yourself into that character to achieve what you want to or need to achieve, and plus have a really good fun with it. So I got back in touch with Neil, and I said, like, do you still have it? Because we were doing a weekend away, and I thought, I haven't run a murder mystery for like 15, 20 years. I fancy running one. Do you still have these? He said, yes, I still got the Roman one. So can I borrow it? So I made some changes, and we run the Roman one, and people really enjoyed it. And I started thinking again, I'm going like, what if we could do a box set version of this where, somebody could literally take host their own party and run it. Everything's in that box for a DM or a host of the party to be able to run the event. And anywhere from 12 to 24 players, the core 12 players, and then you'd know which 13th player to add, which 14th player to add, which the 15th player to add, etc., etc. And all the notes and everything in there that would allow you to be able to successfully run that. So I got back in touch with, I thought, if you could do a box version of that, the global RPG market, and there's nothing like it really that I've seen on the market. I just thought, and I got back, and bless them, Rich is a politician, knew nothing about crowdfunding. Neil's a maths teacher, knows nothing about crowdfunding whatsoever. So I did a business plan and pitched it to them, and they went, yeah, we're in, we'll just do it, because we've got about 10, 20 scenarios written that we can easily adapt from, horror, science fiction, fantasy, Western, Roman, corporate. We've done a lot of these things. So will it be playable? So we've kind of gone and run lots, because I own a couple of board game cafes in Portsmouth and Worthing. We're shareholders of Dice in Portsmouth and Dice in Worthing. So we kind of hosted a few events just to kind of get some market research and stuff and start developing it, which has been, we just can't believe people have so much fun on there, and it's not just for role players. People with families have come that maybe not had much family experience, and when people dress up in a fancy dress and they go for it, once they get going, there's no stopping them, So everybody from different walks of life just have a great fun, and it's brilliant.
It's funny that you mentioned that whole family thing, because I have a really lasting memory. Like my father was a nerd in that he played war games on his computer. He loved his computer and stuff like that. But bar sort of like some old school board games, hex-based war games he used to play. He didn't do RPGs. He didn't do anything else. But I very vividly remember when I was really young, them having a party in my house, and everybody dressing up in sort of kind of Japanese kimonos, and having all these like beanbags and things, and they had this sort of murder mystery game that was like it came in a box, and obviously somebody was a mystery, and I very vividly remember that. And it's sort of kind of similar thing that you're talking about and stuff, and like none of them like it had like people from down the street and stuff, they were into that sort of thing, and they all dressed up and they all pretended to be characters and stuff. They really got into it. And it just sort of reminded me when you were talking about that as a sort of thing in my head.
We did the one that we're launching on GameFound is called Halloween Night, and it's like, is there vampires? Are there werewolves? You think of everything for Hammer House Classics, right? Is in this game, right? Everything is in this game. You just have to go and find it. And anyway, we run an event at Dice, so there was a family down there, and Dad had done nothing like this. Now, he ended up bizarrely getting best role playing at the end of the night. That's where we were because what he did was, a lot of people when they win the best role player for the night are either extrovert, extravagant, bit over the top, and are brilliant because they bring everybody, or just play their character perfection. But he was very subtle because his character, he was having memory blanks. Like basically, he wasn't sure whether he was a killer because he would have blackouts and he'd have memory blanks. And so his daughter was talking to him, and I was kind of there with Jim in it, and I was playing a character actually, and he would just stop and he would just fade out, and his daughter was starting to really get worried. She goes, Daddy, are you okay, Dad? Are you okay? And I'm going, he's role playing. He's role playing. He's role playing. He's role playing. And like, she got it, and he just played it really subtle, and sometimes that's all you kind of need to do that. But he had a whale of a time because nobody was just like going like, "You're right, mate." My daughter played. She's 18 and she's been social, doing her teen years, very socially anxious, and she's kind of getting better. And I would never have thought she would play something like this, but she decided that she wanted to have a go of it. Oh my God. One cocktail and she was gone. She was absolutely flying into it. And she was part of this cult, and she needed to she ended up marrying the head of another cult so they could merge their cults. It was like, well, that wasn't an objective. But
that escalated quickly.
It reminds me a lot of LARPs, especially like the late 90s, early 2000s World of Darkness stuff that would take place on an evening in like a functioning group where we all turned up in character. And I mean, like, skill realization was through rock, paper, scissors. We all kind of dressed up as characters and had like our own particular goals for the night. But yeah, I mean, and there's nothing like it now. There really isn't. There's like these big prestige LARPs.
Yes.
And like such as this Last Supper of Giovanni, or there's the like kind of the weekend long LARPs such as Love and Trust, Empire, and so on. But it's nothing like those kind of in an evening.
Yeah, and this is designed to last 3 hours. You can play the game in 3 hours, and you can play from 12 to 24 players. Well, actually 28 because we've got expansions that you can add on. We've successfully run it with 28 players, and everybody's got something to do. And every time the game is different. We've had a guy play 5 times, but he's played it different because there's more different scenarios come in. They're all interlinked to each other, and the best thing in the end is the wash up, when everybody has to sit around and go like, you start with the detective who says like, well, this is what I think is happening, because that allows people to go like, well, he's not going to pick on me now, so I can reveal a little bit more. And of course people's faces like go around and say, well, and of course I had this, and then somebody goes, no, no, damn it. Why did I talk to you? You had that. Oh my god! And people like go like, you are, and it's just where people reveal who they are, what they had to do, and there's some moments that are just it's just so much fun, guys.
The revelation.
3 hours, brilliant.
Yeah, there's something about sort of like shorter one shots, effectively. Or what's the replayability like for them, by the way? Or
really good.
Yeah.
Really good because you honestly, I say I've had people who've played it 5 times. They've had a different experience every time. I've played it about 4 times, and actually I played this Irish politician who basically had to go talking about he's Irish, and actually he had a secret objective to do. But most of the night I was telling people about how wonderful Guinness was. I somehow sold a barrel of Guinness to this American guy who was trying to buy Guinness, who was trying to buy beers for his pub over there, and I'd be talking like this all night. Have you ever tasted Guinness? It's fantastic. I had another objective which I wouldn't kind of give away, but it's different every time. And actually, in this particular one, we've got several or a couple of murders or different scenarios about who the murderer could be, and the DM can change it every time. And most of the time the murderer gets away with it because they're just like, well, sometimes the detectives are brilliant, other times they're completely useless. But and the secret agents, they're always secret agents, they're always secret coppers around. They just don't really care. They want to do their own objective, their own thing.
To be fair, that's most secret agents. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But it's like because like people go like, oh well, we say like you can't kill anybody for the first hour, right? Let people at least have an hour's experience, because then you can become a ghost and listening on people's conversations, and that's just equally just as entertaining, finding out and seeing what people are doing. And so let's imagine you've got a vial of potion. You can't just turn around and go to the DM. Well, let's imagine, Peter, you want to murder Matt, and you go like, well, I just poison him. Okay. How? Well, I give him this vial of potion. How? Or I'll put it in his drink. Go on then. If you go up, I see you buying him a drink, okay, and pretend you put the potion in, and then go and get a drink, and Matt drinks it, you've got him. Now, if Matt knows he's going to get killed, if Matt knows he's got any suspicion whatsoever, he's not going to possibly take a drink from somebody random or anybody else like that. He's going to buy his own drinks. But if he's stupid enough to take a drink,
I'm not buying any no drinks from Pete.
That's a goner. Then when you've got away with it, So you can't just pull a gun out of somebody and shoot them in cold blood in front of everybody without the police arresting you, and you're not. So you've got to have that little bit of realism in terms of your objective, and you've also got to play fair. There's a level of playing fair, honestly, with people as well. But Good fun.
So
Yeah, I mean, and that's why LARP is so much fun. Look, when you wrote doing a tabletop role playing, going, I walk into the bar and buy a drink. Yeah, you just say that. When you're LARPing, you physically go into the bar and buy a drink.
Yes.
And there's nothing like that really in terms of like pure experience.
Absolutely, and so you could say this event has that element of LARP, has that element of murder mystery, has that element of whodunit, and has that element of, well, we call it free format role playing because there isn't really a rule set to it other than reality. You know, if you can't do it in real life, then you're not going to be able to do it. And the host needs to be, we've got all the notes in there for the host to be able to successfully run it. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of set up like the whole premise and all the character drives, and then just leave each person to kind of run their character as they see fit and see where the
absolutely right
cards flow. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a sandbox game.
Yeah.
Once the game begins, or let the games begin, anything can happen.
Yeah.
One of the events we did, I remember, I don't mind telling the story, is like, well, first of all, one of the early ones we did, I was, we were the NPC, but we were the detectives, and Neil was playing, we were Jamaica, and we were talking like this, and like, terrible Jamaican accent. And he comes up halfway through the game, he said, sorry, boss, but I'm putting you under arrest. What do you mean you're putting me under arrest? Neil, I said, he says, mate, they got you. I was like, and unbeknownst to me, the players wanted me out of the way. They planted evidence on me. They planted some drugs on me, told my constable that actually his boss is the dirty thief. And like, he got them and locked me up. And it was brilliant. It was just a brilliant move. But I mean, not bearing on it. And there's another one that somebody started a rumor of this fulfillment, this like Purple Rose of Cairo, it was called. And everybody then suddenly was talking about this, like, this Purple Rose of Cairo could heal, wounds and you restore people to life. And everybody's after the Purple Rose of Cairo. It never existed. It was never written to anybody. Nothing. It did not exist in the game at all. But somebody started a rumor, and that was it. Everybody was after the Purple Rose of Cairo. That just did not exist. So anything can happen.
That's what I like about these kind of sandbox games where, like you say, anything can happen. Most adventures, they don't, like pre-written adventures that you can buy, tend to be very structured. Like, there's this encounter, then this encounter, then this encounter, and this encounter. That's well and good. But generally, when I run a game, especially a role-playing game, I again go for the sandbox. I set up the kind of location. This is the big thing that is happening. And then leave it up to players to work out what they want to do. I ran a Maze Ascension campaign for 2 years, purely as a sandbox, where basically said, right, you're in Sheffield, the technocracy have just left because mass industrialization was dying at the time in Sheffield. Right, so the traditions are coming in and they want you to build a chantry. Go. And that was it. And basically, they just went for it. They just came up with these mad ideas. And I was just kind of sitting back and just enjoying the mayhem that they were creating. And I was more reacting to what they were doing rather than them reacting to me. Yeah.
Well, Pete, it looks like you're going to be a really good backer for my campaign, because I'm telling you now, mate, this is everything I'm hearing is right up your alley street.
To be honest, I've never LARPed and stuff like that, but I have been to the odd sort of like medieval banquet sort of down in there's one in Coombe Abbey, I think, just near. Where's Coombe? Sort of down to Birmingham direction and stuff. And I loved it. I took me to the point where I brought my brother and my mum for her birthday and stuff. And it's all like, you have to dress up and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'd love to have a go at it.
It's quite unbelievable how actually people can get into it a bit too much. We had a guy, one of the medieval ones we did, and the prince is basically a bit of a wastrel, but the guy who was playing him just let the power kind of get to his head, right? It's like he was bullying everybody. So anyway, his lords decided enough's enough. But he was a brilliant swordsman, right? Brilliant swordsman. But anyway, they lured him to the top of this tower. and basically overpowered him and said, "Well, they're gonna throw him off." And he's going, "No, guys, don't kill me. I can change. I promise you, I can change." And I went, "Nah, throw him over." And then he was an editor of a big magazine. He was going, "Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm going to write a terrible review. You are." Yeah, no, throw him out the tower.
I remember a few months ago we were playing Murder in the Dark with my younger son.
Murder in the Dark? Wow, that's an old school game right there.
That's old school. Yeah, basically it's a fun little party.
Sorry, you froze again there slightly, but I didn't hear what you
So no, we were playing Murder in the Dark with my youngest, who's only 7. Yes. And the way you go, where basically one person goes out, everyone has a party, then the lights go out, the murderer then kills someone, and the lights come back on. The person comes back in that's detected and has to question people. Look, did you do it? Did you do it? Now, my youngest did take a somewhat innovative approach to the rules by killing everyone in the. Well, why? When the lights went out, he killed everyone in the room. And then the lights came back. My wife, who was the detective, comes back in and goes, "Oh, everyone's dead," and there's my youngest there going, "I didn't do it."
To be honest, I'm thinking about murder, because we used to play Murder in the Dark all the time when we were kids. I used to love it, but I don't think anybody ever sort of was thinking anything. It was literally the whole idea. You turn the light off, somebody dies. The person who dies really goes, "Ah!" And then the person who's the judge is like, "You did it." "No, I didn't." "You did it." "No, I didn't." "You did it." And then the lights go off again and somebody else dies, and yeah, it's just
but you don't think about hang on, everyone's dead.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. You're the only one left. Ghost. It was a ghost.
That was pretty much his excuse, to be fair. It's kind of like a more role-play based version of that, with a lot more depth. It's the best way I can put it. Yeah, but it sounds wonderful. I mean, I am going to be totally backing this when it comes out.
Yeah.
So when is it coming out?
So we were hoping, because we did have a bite from the BBC that they were interested in doing some coverage on it, because we've got some rumors, but that never materialized. We were hoping to launch it on Halloween night on October 31st.
Nice.
But it didn't quite pan out. My marketing lady, who's brilliant, she had to she had to go to hospital, and so she's fine. So we've delayed it now. So I was gonna do it on the 31st of January till I realised it was my wife's 50th birthday the day before. So, maybe it's not such a good idea to do that. So we're going to be launching it hopefully on February the 6th now. Our marketing has really kicked in. So we've got about 250 followers on GameFound, which but we've also now got about 500 on our mailing list from Facebook advertising and stuff as well. So we're building that up. So our aim is to try and get about 2,000 people onto our mailing list before launch. Because guess what, guys? Going back, that's what I tell my publishers that they have to do, and that they will fail or have zero chance of succeeding if they don't do it. So if I don't do it myself,
the sweet irony.
It would be irony, isn't it? But it's really interesting because I say to people, because they say, "Well, I have this argument with people. I said, "Right, so your marketing, I don't have a budget." I said, "Yes, you do." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." "Oh, really? So you're going to tell me that how am I going to get a marketing budget?" Well, the problem is, I said, is and I preach this about marketing. I'm not a marketing expert, but I know what you need to do and what your return on investment is. And so, you need to, it's not about being fearful about spending money on marketing for crowdfunding, but be about fearful about not monitoring what you are spending and what return on investment you are getting. So, pre-sign-ups, you need to be able to, and I said this, you probably might see the Kickstarter called Mycelium on Kickstarter. It's got about 9,000 backers. And Jack, fantastic guy, really switched on, but he came to us about 6 to 8 months before he was going to launch, and we said, "Well, you're not ready. This is what you need to go and do." And boy, did he go and do it. But it's about monitoring the return on investment pre-sign-ups to make sure you're not spending £10 a lead, for an email address, and equally when you launch, that you are getting a return on investment for every pound you spend. so that you're not getting 2 to 1, you're getting a 4 to 1 or a 5 to 1. So in other words, whatever pound you spend, you're getting £5 back. And I say to people, you get 3 to 1, yeah, keep it going. 4 to 1, yeah, doing all right. 5 to 1, remortgage, get a loan, or come to me, I'll buy half your company at that return on investment, and we'll be rich together. So it's all about not going and spending £10,000 on advertising, but only getting 500 followers for it. That's you're broke. And so the same thing for us. And it was very, very interesting, because when we started trying to direct people on GameFound, we ended up paying £5 a lead. Now, that's too much. So we tweaked it. We went to a website, and it went down a £4 a lead, and went back up to, it was like still much. Now we're collating it directly on Facebook, because we're running a competition, etc. And it's down to like 77p per lead. So it's about trial, about error, about making sure you don't spend an absolute fortune, to make sure you try to get it right. And that's our process that we're going to evolve. So we've kind of got there now, so we're looking at getting that, because we're running a competition. So basically the competition is, and Peter, so perfect, if you're going to back the project, this is your chance, because if you enter the competition or you follow it on GameFound, you'll get into a free draw, and you would make a great count, by the way. You could get your face as one of the characters in the game.
Okay.
Ooh,
I'm in.
well, I'm all about that.
No, you're not, but I'm getting this one done.
You could get one of the pledges will be £500 with a minimum amount where you'll guarantee to get a slot, but there's also a competition. If you back it, you'll get a free entry into a draw for to have your character in there. So one male, one female is the attitude, and then you have some pledges, whatever. But we're going to go. This is a cracker, right? This is a cracker. If you've got £6,000 to spare, £6,000, you're going to save £6,000. But how about this, boys? A fully customizable 24 character game for you and your friends.
Wow!
All of the characters, all designed, fully customizable to you, and whoever. All of them, all the characters. We would customize a lot, for you personally.
That's something I think somebody would buy. Like, if I had £6,000, I probably would think about that, because that's a really good idea.
And you share that between 24 people as well. That is actually makes that's about no, that's not bad.
So yeah. and it's really interesting, because there's people out there. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Daniel Steele. Have you heard of Dan Steele? He was the founder of Devium Games, and then obviously he became kind of chairman of Asmodee Europe, or CEO of Asmodee Europe, etc. as well. I know quite a really lovely guy, really nice guy. Anyway, he's now in. He's in partnership with Christian Peterson of X Fantasy Flight, and can't remember the guy's name. He was head of World of Darkness and White Wolf, etc.
Oh,
anyway,
you're talking about Mark Van Hagen.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's his name. But anyway, they're now involved in a partnership, but they run basically this D&D weekends at this castle. I think.
Oh, right, yeah, with Mark Meir,
with
Mark Meir and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, people would pay a lot of money to go to this.
I was looking at the prices for that, and I was just like, holy shit, that's expensive.
Yeah, and it's just like, and they come from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, not only just the flights to get there, as well as the that kind of weekend. It's just like fantastic. Do you know what I mean? So,
they've just had one, or at
so
least,
there are people out there that
I mean, like, there was that big premiere LARP in the south of England, all about the World of Darkness, the Final Supper of Giovanni, and that was a full premiere LARP. We had to get all these kind of luxurious costumes, and it was several £1,000s for a weekend. But people I've spoken to have said, yeah, it's worth it, just for the experience.
Yeah. So I mean, and we will come out. One of the pledges will be it's like £1,500, but you'll get a character. Plus, we will come anywhere in the UK to run your event for you. You'll have a team out there, and then there will be a full-on one for anywhere in the rest of the world that we will come and run an event for you, possibly on Halloween night next year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we're trying to add a little bit of flavour in there as well. So, but yeah, so. That's kind of where we're at. So we'll have add-ons like folders and journals and pencils and all that sort of stuff that you can just add to the experience that you have. But
it's all about the add-ons. That's what gets me. It's all unfortunately that's what cool minis are not always get me. It's all the little extra minis and things you get. It's like it's all about the extras.
But you damn well know you're going to get a massive return on investment for it if you decide you hold on to it as a collector's item and sell it. I had a spare because I backed Blood Rage, and I had a spare map, and I had I got sent 2 for some reason, and a spare Blood Rage map, and anyway, I just I went, I've had it here for yonks. I went, I'm going to sell that. My daughter's off to university with extra cash. Well, it went for like 140 quid, chaps.
Yeah, it's mad. Like there's for most of the Kickstarters that I've sold, because I'm like, I'm not gonna play this. I've literally just been shiny thing and got it. But there was one, what was it called? Oh, it's not letting me into my bloody thing. It's I can't remember. It was like a cooperative RPG, lots of minis and things, and it came in a bag in my box, and I think it was like 200 quid. I bought it because I went all in, because I always go all in, and I think I sold it for about 350 quid. And there was loads of people asking for it, because obviously it was quite a limited run and people didn't get certain things and stuff, and it was mad. I was like, wow, shit. I thought I was going to have to make a loss on this game, but I actually profited on it. And I don't... Totally. Yeah, I don't do that, but mad.
Yeah.
It was supply and demand. I mean, a very classic example is the Big Trouble in Little China, the board game. That's going for hundreds of pounds out, because they were given that license for about a year. They made the game for a year and then stopped. And there are people like me that grew up in the 80s that love Big Trouble in Little China because it's a great film. And we can't find it here.
Great film.
Yeah,
it's great. So incredible.
And
now I can't find it.
Yeah, the annoying thing about that is the limited, and this is one of my sort of pet peeves, especially for people like me who have zero self-control. You've got things like, massive. I'm into sort of my Warhammer more so. Like I like all of the lore and stuff behind it, and obviously the Horus Heresy books have come out, and they bring out a limited edition one. And limited edition one's only 50 quid. It's leather back and stuff, but all of bloody what's they called? The not fencers. What are they called? People who sell what are they called? People who sort of buy them for selling them on and stuff. All the what's the name? Yeah. What are they called?
Resellers.
Yeah, resellers. We call them resellers. I can't remember the specific name for it, but they'll go on, and you can't get that. Like, you have to, as soon as you're it starts at 10 o'clock, you want to buy that book for 50 quid, you can't, and they're all on eBay within 10 minutes going for 350, 400 quid, and you're just like, you motherfuckers. It's so annoying.
Again, that's supply and demand.
I know, but it's just annoying. It's just annoying.
It is absolutely, I know.
It's so annoying, and it's just like, I don't...
Listen, I'm a £6 million company now, right? But I started buying games from car boot sales, books from car boot sales, and putting them on eBay. That's how I started. It's a hobby, and it's an addictive hobby. I call it like psychology of green. When you get a bid, it goes green. And I remember, you remember, well, you're going to like this, Peter. Remember RuneQuest, and there was a newsletter. Yes. There was a newsletter called Pavic Tales, right? And it was a typewritten newsletter. And we picked up a job lot, and right at the end, my wife Emma goes, "Well, we could do about this bit of paper, this 4, 5, 8, about 6 pages of plan." I said, "Oh, we'll whack them on for 99p." We had about 12 editions of them. Oh my God, they were going for 40, 50, 60 quid all over the world. I mean, because these were collectible editions of this newsletter from the very word go. It was called Pavic Tales. It was just mad. And I thought afterwards, why not I take photocopies of all of these things? but they wanted the originals, and it was just nuts. Yeah, put them off 99p and see them going up through the roof. Mad.
I remember I had the old Master System Mercy fan, and I used to have the old System Mercy magazines underneath the rock. And I put that on eBay, and that went for massive amounts. I mean, it's about 10 pages of A4, moderately put together, some writing by Andrew Eldritch of the Sister Mercy. And yeah, people just snapping that up. And it's just like, the Sisters haven't released an album for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I was in Paper Mail, I used to be writing for a magazine, and another guy who used to write called PBM Scroll, and he's a very good friend of mine. But they're worthless. Why are they worthless? Because the games aren't there today. They're not around today. They've gone. And so anything associated now, things like RuneQuest is still here. It's still here today. It's still popular. It's still, there's a history to it. And so if you have an evergreen game, whether it's an RPG, a board game, or whatever, it's an evergreen game, then, and it's like 20 years old, then it's a history associated with that game. And therefore, things from the past are worth so much more money, aren't they? You know, so, yeah.
Yeah, I've got.
I mean, the return of the fifth edition of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf and so on, have kickstarted a massive renaissance for the World of Darkness games, where people are now kind of showing their library of World of Darkness games, shelves and shelves of all the old books from 1990s, and they're going for massive amounts on eBay, like especially some of the more limited edition versions from Black Dog Games, and just like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I have a thing growing up in the 80s and like growing up with games like Talisman and Hero Quest and Space Crusade and stuff like that. And
what a terrible game Talisman is.
Yeah, I don't know,
man.
Monopoly.
It's a grind.
It is a grind, but it's
such a grind.
It is, but like and I've got I've got all the sort of kind of the newer Fantasy Flight ones before Sleep, and then I've got the set. I spent ages trying to get a full set, so I've got all the second edition, which is I know there's a first edition, but it's sort of it's the second edition is sort of the main one that you get. What's sort of second edition with all the expansions and the Timescape one with the first Space Marines. That you get the first Space Marine and you can play him in Talisman. But it's like the game's like really simple because it's literally just you roll d6, you go around in a circle and you pick up stuff, and it is a bit grindy. But for a
totally grindy. But apparently the Warhammer one, the 40k one, is probably one of the better ones. Apparently, it's one of the better versions.
I don't played it once, but like Talisman for me is just it's simple and it's like there's no massive amount of rules. You roll some dice, you read what's on the card, you read what's on the board, and it's literally first person into the middle. So it's kind of old school board game in a certain way. You can't have the big expansions that come up, and me and my brother play it with all the expansions and stuff, so it takes forever. But it's basic, and for a kid, especially if you're getting into that sort of game, you don't need to know a lot of rules because I
agree. It's a great entry game. Yeah. It's really good because Monopoly, which is death by 1,000 cuts, as I like to say. But apart from the best Monopoly game I've ever seen was with a bunch of World of Warcraft players. I'm a massive World of Warcraft player. And what they did was, because of the World of Warcraft Monopoly, and we used to do the tabletop zone and Insomnia. So we were very big at Insomnia and so forth. And so we walked around and went like, why are you rolling? What are you rolling dice for? Oh, we're having combat. What do you mean? It's Monopoly. Yeah, we can't. So if they land on the same square, if they land on like you build a house there,
PvP.
You can fight not to pay your rent. That's
a good idea, man.
Brilliant. Okay, now that's a game of Monopoly I think I'd want to play.
Yeah, World of Warcraft is... I was massively addicted to that game when it first came out. I played all the way until Lich King and then decided that it was ruining my life. And I had to stop because it was literally every day, every hour of every day playing that game to the point it's like, I can't...
I missed it all. My first daughter was born 2 months or a month before they launched World of Warcraft. So I never got to play it. So when they relaunched Classic, I got into it, and now they put this server called Hardcore.
All right, yeah. So you die.
When you die, you die.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You die. You're dead. No resurrection. No nothing. You're dead. That's it. You have to start another character. It's absolutely fantastic. I died 4 times, and now I'm up to like level 34 with my rogue, and it is so addictive.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that at all. I've seen videos like on TikTok of stuff of people doing it in Diablo, where this guy was trying to explain how hardcore's the best thing and blah blah blah, and he was at level like 99 or something. He was about to tick over.
You can go to level 60. Oh, on Diablo.
Diablo, yeah. And I was maybe it wasn't whatever it was, the unit cap, whatever the level cap was, and he was going on about it. And because he wasn't paying attention while he was playing, he was talking away to the video. He died in hardcore on the video, and he went, and that's why hardcore's fucking shit. And he kind of went absolutely mental because he'd got all the way to that point and died because he wasn't paying attention. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I would play it over again, and then that would just ruin my life more. So I stay away from it. I stay away from MMORPGs as much as I can. I get sort of like, what's the word? Like, I met some amazing people. Like, it was a really good time when I did it, but I found myself, I was being bored in the game instead of being bored in real life, and that's when I caught myself on, because I was like flying around in my Griffin, and I'd rather be in the game doing nothing than outside trying to do something else. And I was just like, I need to stop this, man. It's just sort of it's getting way too much for me.
I can see how that gets addictive.
Yeah, big time. But anyway, back to the other point, sort of nostalgia and old school games and stuff. Like I'm a like, there's all these games like Hero Quest and Space Crusade especially. Like, I really want to get the Eldar Attacks and the Mission Dreadnought and stuff for them, but you can't get them. They're worth hundreds of pounds if you want to get a good copy of them, especially the same like Keller's Keep and so for Hero Quest. You know, if you want to get sort of the boxed sort of expansions, which you probably had as a kid and then just didn't think about and chucked away and stuff, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and it's just like, those are the wins. So I've got those games, but I will never play them. So I've got a full set of Space Hulk with expansions. I'm not going to play that game. It's just like, I wanted that as a kid, and I have it now, and I've got all the expansions, and it's just going to stay there. I've got a game. Do you remember a game called Shogun, which was like a wrist? Yeah, a game like, so Shogun was like a wrist. It was like what Shogun Total War turned into, as in the computer game, but obviously a board game. So I played that as a kid, and I've got it, and I don't think I'm ever going to play it, but I just like the fact that it was a game that I loved as a kid, and I've got it. It's like all the talismans. So I've got all these little projects of things that, you know, I'll sell all the new games, but the old ones that I grew up on, it's just like, I need to get the thing for it. I need to get the other thing for it. And one day I'm going to have the whole set, and they're all going to sit on the shelf. I'm never going to play them. I'm just going to be content that I've got those things.
You are a collector.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. So
there's
bad.
no two ways about it. It's catnip, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean,
it really is.
And crowdfunding has turned into the biggest pre-order, website. It's just a glorified pre-order site.
Yeah.
So,
it's both good and bad. Like, for me, I was thinking about this. It's like, when I was growing up, there, you didn't have, the games came out now and again, so you would play those games, and you could play them before another new one came out to distract you and stuff like that. So, I've got very fond memories of specific times when games came out. So Talisman, Hero Quest, Space Crusade, Battle Masters, which was my first sort of kind of big Warhammer, not big sort of kind of, it's big battle mat. You got lots of guys. Love that game. And it was like, I've got specific times in my life where I remember playing those games because they came out after each other. But now, because there's so many, and because I've got technically have disposable income, with all these different Kickstarters coming in left, right, and center, it gets to the point where like, I like all the things, but I can't buy all the things. And because I'm like, I need the things, it's like, it stresses me out. I get really stressed that I want that game, but I also want that game. If I don't get that game, then I'm going to be really upset, and then this is going to happen. It's really bad.
Well, what people forget, Matt, is like, if you might not play the game, but if you now turn around and you look at that collection, you feel good.
I do.
You have a moment of adrenaline rush. I do my David Gemmell first edition books, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And I see them there, and I've read them all. I've read them 5-6 times maybe, and therefore it conjures up memories for you. So it's not just about the playing of the game, but it's how people go. You look at a painting, and it just sit there. You've seen it 100 times, and yet for some reason that evokes memories, or evokes something within you. It conjures up something within you. And when you look at your shelf and your collection, and you see the artwork and you see everything else as well, it's almost like looking at a painting. It might not be sat there, but it evokes memories, and it makes you feel good just looking at it.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't it sit on your shelf and look at it?
Yeah, and I'm the same. Like I'll buy like an audiobook so I can listen to it, and then I'll buy the physical hardback version so I can stick it on my shelf. So I got a lot of books that I will never pick up and read. Like, they're just there because, the artwork, and just having them there is a pretty thing. But yeah, you do. I think, you know what? It's not as big a deal when it comes to board games. More so when I buy miniatures. If I buy too many of them, they aren't on display. So it's like, I buy a board game and they're on my shelves, and I can look over and go, oh, that's a cool looking game. Or one day I might bring that out to play that, or, at least I can see them physically. They're there. When you buy lots of toy soldiers and they're just sitting in boxes and you don't see them, it stresses you out because you spent all this money. You're not using them. They're not even on display. They're just there in a pile.
You mentioned about artwork, so I'm going to, Peter, if I don't mind, turn the tables and ask you a question, because we had a big discussion and research on this. AI art in the RPG arena, and the changes that AI art is now coming to the fro. I mean, you obviously talk to a lot of publishers out there and stuff as well. And from our research, the community is very anti-AI art, and we were determined not to use AI art in any of our stuff, which we haven't done. But what's your kind of feeling on AI art? Because I think it's going to be here to stay, but I think it's got to be used responsible. So.
I was speaking to a few publishers at the UK Games Expo this year, and one publisher about AI art, and several said, no, we don't use AI art. However, one design artist I spoke to said, yes, I use AI art. I take some of my existing images and then use AI to modify it in such a way that I need it to fit in with the rest of the layout. So I could see it as being a useful tool for art, but I still think using it to actually create the original art will generally come up with something that is derivative. I mean, I was speaking about this at a generative AI conference last month, where basically by its vein, AI is trained on what was. So that is what it will create, something that what was. It cannot essentially create something new. It was just create something that is derivative.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at, like, especially in journalism is like, it's the news. It's coming. What's new?
Yes.
So you never get that. And so I think it's the same with art as well. Kind of like, it won't create something new. It'll just create something based on.
Yeah, I was at an AI seminar. I mean, there was a legal guy there. There was a studio there, and what the guy from the studio says, the appetite for the general public to consume content is growing. Yeah. People are looking to consume content. Now, imagine if somebody came to me and said, you'd said to an artist, draw me a skyscraper. Then what the artist would do is look at maybe 12 or 20 different skyscrapers and take maybe the best in his mind to create the skyscraper. So he'll take bits from other skyscraper images he's done. So what they were explaining is, well, to use AI responsible, AI would go and it would automatically scan and come back with something from those 20 skyscrapers. The artist would then need to make that creation their own. They would need to change things. They would need to kind of go things, because there was a big case at the minute where somebody had reused a Getty image, and they knew it was because the Getty logo was still in the image.
Yeah, that was going to say that. Yeah.
And so, that's not responsible. So about using responsible art, and what they're saying is that, him as a studio can't afford to buy, to keep up with the consumption that people want for content. He can't keep it up. So using our technology to create ideas, but then utilizing those ideas and making those ideas their own, and to personalize that idea, he said would make it very cost effective. And so I think AI art needs to be used kind of responsible, but back as a savvy that can see AI art from a pretty mile away. So,
but I think it's with AI, like I use, we're starting to use it a lot in work, but we're using we're developing our own, so we're not, because the issue you have with especially open source AI is that it can go rogue and it can make stuff up, and it sort
hallucinate.
It'll hallucinate. Like there's the example of, like, I work in law, and they were looking for specific case law for an event, and I can't remember exactly what it was. And they got case law back. The AI came back with case law, and the paralegals started looking through to find what that case law was, and they couldn't find it. And then somebody picked up that what it had done is it had taken one part of case law and another part of case law and then jammed them together, but it done it so well that people haven't picked up it wasn't actually a piece of case law. It made it up. It made up a legal precedent to sort of deal with a situation. And then an email went round work and stuff saying, yeah, you're not allowed to do this. This could go very badly if people do this. And it's the same with the art, like you said, the artwork. So it takes influences from other people and then it can jam it together and make something with a Getty image in it. So it's theft in a certain weird way. So what you were saying about it being something you use as an inspiration to sort of to feed off, I think a foundation, yeah, exactly. And that, like, for our D&D campaign, I've used it quite a lot now, but it's not good at writing stuff like I want it to, but it's very good at giving me, I say, right, I want this, and this to happen. It'll give me a list of stuff, and I can go, right, I can feed off that, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and make it more sort of kind of how it should be. But it's a good tool. It shouldn't be something that it shouldn't be something you use for everything. It shouldn't create the art. It should give you the idea for the art, or give you a foundation for it, but it shouldn't be the thing that creates it. Because I don't think currently I don't think it's got the ability to do things well. What's the word? I think it's sort of... It doesn't sort of, it's taking from other people. It has to learn from somewhere, so it's taking that from somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So you have to be very careful with that. It is the future, and it's something that's going to become a thing if people like it or not. It's like the Industrial Revolution. I said this in work. There's a lot of people here sort of hitting against it. And it's like, it's going to happen, and you either get on board with the new Industrial Revolution or technological revolution and sort of be a part of it, or you get left behind, and that's it. And as much as you just have to sort of make the best of what it is. It's exciting. It's exciting in its own way. Like, it's opening up so many different avenues and different things, and who knows, we may all
the people that are opposed to it go realize that they're also part of the problem, and that's what that was a hit home through what this studio was talking about, the desire to consume. We are a massive digital age, that we're moving, and digital content is becoming more and more prevalent. But Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much.
But when it comes, if you're, I don't know, how do you, when it comes to art, because my sister's an artist, and she works very hard, and she doesn't make, when she sells something, when she sells a piece, she can make a fair bit of money, but then she doesn't make some money for ages and stuff, because it's a taxing art form.
Just go on Fiverr. That's where I find my artist.
Fiverr, yeah. Well,
honestly. I've learned so much, and I've got a voiceover artist from Fiverr. I've got this artist that I found. I narrowed down from 20 to eventually to like four artists, and eventually picked this particular artist who did all my artwork. And she's so cost effective. It's so hard working, and all of that art from Fiverr is just. I mean, I wouldn't tell you what I paid for it, but it was a quarter of what I thought my budget was going to be for the artwork, and it is absolutely outstanding. And so Fiverr is just I find if you look at the video when we done somebody said it's Joe Brand as Lord of the Rings, she's amazing, and I got this voiceover artist with with internet rights and stuff for less than 400 quid, and it's absolutely brilliant, you know. And so there's so much talent out there, and it's like this global market out there. But you've just got to, like anything else, do your homework. And don't just pick up the first one. You know, I went down from 20, and it was very obvious. This guy was super cheap, and I was going like, I don't, you know, because I went down and I asked everybody to use AI art, and one guy went, well, yes, I do. I can't do an image for 20 quid without AI art. He said, but then I'm not interested. Then, you know, bye, you're off my list. But yeah, so FIFO was a real kind of eye opener. Really.
Yeah. The thing is, like, there's a lot of these sort of, they say they're AI artists, and it's all about the prompts, because I can sort of see an argument for it in certain ways, because especially, you know, prompting AI to do specific things is an art form in its own way, because you can't it's
effectively coding it.
You are coding it, because you can sort of, you know, from the basic stuff that I do, I've watched loads of videos on it, and you know, you can get it to do coding for you. There's a guy who created a platform game on it with no coding knowledge whatsoever, just because he was quite apt at prompting. So he would sort of prompt it different things and go back and forth, and then sort of it effectively created this game for him, and he sort of gave it the ideas and stuff, and it was just through prompting and stuff. So I suppose in a way, if the artwork is all your prompts and the art itself is not taken from anybody else's art, then I don't see any issue with it. I don't see, like, you know, there's inspiration, like you said, you know, the computer is literally, you're going to look at different, and you know, you can see similarity. People take inspiration from other people and stuff, like you know, like one of the people in your work, so it looks like he's the guy who plays Kylo Ren from
Adam Driver.
Yeah, he looks a bit like Adam Driver. He looks a bit like Adam.
That's one of the ones where we're going to be giving away.
Yeah, he looks a bit like Adam Driver.
Well, I mean, bizarrely, because somebody says that the Arabella looks a bit like Anne Hathaway.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it looks a bit like Anne Hathaway. Yeah.
I get the Adam Driver bit. I mean, it was not intentional, and we've had a few comments about that. So we will change that when actually one of the competitions or pledges we'll be giving away will be for the count. Hannah Hathaway kind of get a little bit, and then somebody said the inspector looks like Jude Law, and we were going like, nah, bro, there's the guy. Look like Jude Law.
He's the guy who played Moriarty. The guy who looks like Moriarty played Moriarty in the films. He plays King George in The Crown as well. I think he's the guy with the mustache and stuff. But the thing is, you take inspiration.
Everybody's going to see something.
Yeah, you take inspiration.
The guy on GameFound, when I was pitching, he went, well, he said anything we do with Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves? He's going, yeah. And he thinks that Adam Driver's Keanu Reeves.
Oh, okay, like, well, no.
Like, whatever, as long as I can have your money, you can look at what you want. But I mean,
you take your inspiration from things you're going to do. Like when one of the art books I remember growing up with, and it was showing it was like a fantasy art book, but it showed where it got the inspiration for each part of it, and it was like this was a tree and this was this, and it's all about sort of using that inspiration to create something. It's not that all artists you know, it's not coming from nowhere. It's coming from an image that they have, you know, from, you know, the real world. So as long as you're not, you know, taking other people's arts, you know, you can take inspiration from, and that's what the prompts and stuff are, then I don't see that. I don't see that as an issue, because that is you. It's like writing. It's like anything. You take inspiration from things and you make it your own, and it's the same principle. It's just like if it's just out and out theft where it's taking that image from somebody else, plagiarized, then that's where the sort of kind of issue comes from.
Matt, I might lose you in a minute because my headphones are bleeping at me, so they might be running out of power in a minute.
Okay.
So Matt, you've Access and Allies fan, World War II fan. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you played, and this is my all-time favorite game, have you ever played Quartermaster General?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
Losing you. Best World War II game. Blows Access and Allies out of the water. There's no dice in it. There's no compass or card driven. And it's 6 players, and if you play Fog of War, it is the best because every game is different. Every single game is different, and it could you World War II theatre in an hour and a half. It is just the best.
Quartermaster General. Okay.
Quartermaster General, second edition, because Ares took over the second edition, and the World War II edition. 6 players. If you get 6 players, to be honest with you, it's not very good if you don't play 6 players, because you play fog of war. You cannot discuss what is in your hand. And you have to hope. You have to hope, right, that if you're playing Germany and Italy should be supporting the Germans. Like, you have to take Western France. Like, you open the barrel, your cards gave you. Go on, Italy. Like, Italy, do your thing. Do your thing, but you can't discuss it. You're not allowed to discuss it. You're not allowed to discuss tactics with your, because it's a cooperative 3 versus 3 game. So Germany, Italy, and Japan against America, UK, and Russia.
Right, yeah.
Oh my God, guys! If you like things like Axis and Allies and stuff, those totally different. But the thematically is amazing.
It kind of reminds me of diplomacy. Like, I used to play diplomacy as a kid, and
Well, diplomacy was just brutal. Diplomacy is risk on crack.
Oh yeah,
you know, I mean,
you have to write your orders down. I remember playing it. As a kid with my dad and my uncle. My dad and my uncle are like me and my brother, like very competitive with the games. My uncle was in the army and stuff, and I remember I was on my dad's. No, there was no teams. It was like, we're doing this, but my dad managed to persuade me to stab my uncle in the back and sort of like, attack him, and he was not impressed in any way, shape or form. But I just remember, like, you had to write your orders down, and then you had to go off into another room and discuss things with other people and stuff. So you had that. I used to love that. Brilliant. Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. I love it. I mean, despite it being luck based in terms of the dice, I actually love risk. Doing some risky evenings, with my mates. It was just I never
won a game of Risk because everybody beats me up. Everybody has to go with me.
A classic story. So a friend of ours, his name is Dom, and basically we said, right, let's play Risk, Dom. He said, yeah, I'm in. I've never lost a game of Risk. So we're all going, look at each other, right? He's going down. He's going down. We're taking him down. Never lost a game of Risk. Brilliant. So boys, how do I play?
Man, have you played Axis? Zombies is a bit of a trope. Have you ever played Axis and Allies Zombies?
No.
It's surprisingly really good. Like, I had this big thing about, like, I am not gonna like. I don't like when they just jam zombies into everything, but it takes the Axis and Allies thing, and it makes it from being a game of fighting, thinking about how you're going to deal with each other, to sort of how you're going to deal with each other and then not get overrun by zombies, because basically zombie outbreaks just happen, and every time you lose an infantryman, it turns into a zombie, and the other player can use the zombies to attack you and stuff like that, and every time you lose battles, more zombies turn up, so that it turns out there's like 2 or 3 zombies on the map, and then outbreaks happen, and then suddenly by the very end of it, the whole map's surrounded in zombies, and it's just about how many territories you own, and that's the winner of the game. It's a completely different way to play it, and it's so good. It's really good. Yeah, really good, really good. Yeah. Right. Well, I could literally speak war games and old school games with you forever, because it's definitely my jam, but I'll not keep you for too much longer. We generally sort of, by all means, you don't have to do this, but we do like a little pop quiz type thing at the end. It's sort of like a 20 questions sort of thing. You pick
absolutely far away. Love it.
Yeah, we do. So basically, it's like a you pick a franchise, you pick a character from a franchise you like, and then we have to we'll all do it, then we all have to basically guess who that character is. So you could pick Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever's your thing. Obviously something that maybe we'll be able to guess, so nothing really obscure, Peter.
Sure.
Because Pete does one of 2 things. It's either super obscure and nobody knows what the hell it is. It's some old comic book from like the 1980s that nobody's ever seen.
I've got somebody.
Right, okay, so let me get my little stop clock ready then, and we'll do this. So, right, so what's your franchise? What are we guessing?
Fantasy.
So yeah, but what sort? So we need the specific franchise. So we can. Is it like Lord of the Rings? Is it
Oh, go on then. Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. I know nothing about Wheel of Time.
Sorry,
We're
It's
not.
only because I was watching it with the penultimate episode
Oh, right.
with the
I've
second
not-
edition from
Is that
that
any
thing
good?
as well.
Is
So,
Wheel of Time any
no,
good?
no, you must get Wheel of Time, but there we go.
No,
Yeah, but,
neither of us have seen it, unfortunately. So that's a fail. Have you got anything else?
That's a fail. You failed.
Yeah, that's a fail.
We'll
Sorry.
think of something. We'll think
Well,
of something else.
We'll
So
think.
I've got to pick. I've got to pick a character from a franchise, and you got to guess what character.
Yeah,
that
you
is.
got to pick a character. So if you're not into lots of things, then it's
I'm
not.
into so many different things. The problem is, it's like not about what I'm into, but it's what I'm not into. So there we go. So I tell you what, you pick a franchise, and I will pick a character. How about that then? What do you know?
Okay, we will. We'll do an example. Have you got an example, Pete? Have you got one that you can think of?
Yeah, I've got one. Because we're talking about like 90s goth and all that and World Darkness, I've got the Crow film.
Oh God, it's been a while since I've seen The Crow. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to remember.
No, I'm not going to remember anything about the Crow.
all the
Names.
names. I could.
Okay.
I mean, you think Wheel of Time? At least that's modern. At least it's up to date, guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
Pete. Like there you
TV,
go.
so-
Like I've seen The Crow many moons ago, but it's not something I'm sort of. You need something a bit more. You know this. You know the format, man.
I do.
You've been doing this for years now.
Yeah,
We've been
come
on
on,
a years
It's
now.
a terrible quiz.
Yeah, it's
Come on,
format.
quiz up there.
You're gonna do
Oh,
format.
good job there. There we go. Right. Okay. I know. We'll go Marvel.
Marvel.
I'm
Okay.
a
Right.
massive Marvel fan.
Okay.
So-
Right. So Marvel. 60 seconds. Go. Is it? They do have their own film.
Yes.
Are they a superhero?
Yes.
Are they male?
Yes.
So
Are
Marvel.
they,
have
are they human?
Yes.
Okay. Do they rely on technology?
No.
Do they have superpowers?
Yes.
Are they mystical superpowers? Magical?
No.
Are
Are
they?
are they green?
Yes.
The Hulk.
Yes. Go on.
Very good. 39 seconds. Yes, that's
Right
right for the winner. Okay. Pete.
We took about 10 minutes to discover which
But it always ends up you get the really basic ones and stuff. Every now and again, you sort of you might get something a bit more. Pete.
Ghostbusters.
Ooh, Ghostbusters. Oh, I haven't had Ghostbusters. Well, I don't think we've ever had Ghostbusters.
Well, we have had the trailer for, teaser trailer for
It looks really good.
Frozen Empire, which
Yeah.
looks so good.
Okay.
It basically looks like The Day After Tomorrow meets at the Mountains of Madness, but
Yeah.
both are fine.
Okay, Ghostbusters. 60 seconds. Go. Are they part of the original 2 films?
Yes.
Are they a Ghostbuster?
Not directly.
Are they? Okay, right.
Are they female?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver, whatever her character.
Sigourney Weaver.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Do they say we got one?
They do indeed.
Oh, what's her name?
What's her name?
What is her
Can't remember
name?
names.
Oh
I'm
my
terrible
God.
with names.
Oh my god. Oh my god, what's her name?
I don't know. You tell me. That's what I'm asking.
Oh fuck.
Don't look at me. I'm out.
Oh
I'm out.
shit. It's on the tip of my tongue. Bleh.
Yeah, that's it. Her. You just said it.
Bleh. Bleh. Fuck.
Let's put him out of his misery, Pete.
It's like Janine or something, isn't it? Or
Hey, you just said it.
Janine.
Janine.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Yay!
Okay, right on the 1 minute mark. There you go. All right, nice. Oh, brilliant. Okay, all right. My one. My go-tos are generally Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Which one would you prefer, Nige? Which one?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's good. Nice. Lord of the Rings. Okay. We are
Only
going.
because I pitch Lord of the Rings in my sales pitch about fulfillment all the time. But there we go.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to go for. Who am I going? I've gone through a lot of characters in Lord of the Rings in the past, so we're trying to have one we haven't used. we are going to go for nobody who's going to be too obscure.
Thank goodness.
We are going to go for okay, yeah, it's relatively easy, I think. Okay, so Lord of the Rings, 60 seconds, go.
Are you good or bad?
He is good.
Are you in the films?
He is in the films.
Male?
Yes.
Are you in the first film?
No.
Are you human?
Yes.
Are you in the second film?
Yes.
And the third film?
Yes.
Okay. That rules out
you
Sean Bean.
Are you a king?
I am not a king.
Are you from Rohan?
I am not I am not a Rohirrim.
Are you from Gondor?
I am a Gondorian.
Are you Faramir?
Yeah, wow. Whew. I am Faramir. 41 seconds. Nice. Very good. All right, yeah. There you go. Here we go. Right. Right, very good.
I thought, and I tell you why. I went, if I was going to pick a good character that was kind of not a main character, but kind of a skill, I'd go Faramir. So I was going like, no, surely. I couldn't just steal your thunder too much for them.
I have done ones. I have done sort of like really obscure ones from the books and stuff like that. And, you know, we've had sort of Durin's Bane at one point in time and sort of, you know, things like that. But generally, you have to be a real sort of...
What do you think of the new series? The Amazon
I think it's not... It's not perfect.
Terrible.
It's not terrible. It was watchable. I enjoyed it. Having read the Silmarillion and stuff, I knew that was going to be Melkor pretty early. Oh, sorry, not Melkor. Melkor's the main guy. Saruman pretty early on, but yeah, it was good, and I'm looking forward to that. Though the only sort of annoying thing is that what's his name? So basically, Isildur, not Isildur, hits the sun. Oh my god, names have gone completely. My mind's gone blank.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So there's basically the find the Gondor and Anor, and the founder of Anor is male, and I don't understand why. Because again, names have completely gone from my head, but they've made it female. I don't understand why they've done that. It doesn't really make any sense at all. It's not like being sexist and going, oh, they made it a girl. It's just like, but I don't. You have this character in I don't understand why you would have her as a female foundation.
My only criticism, and I saw a video about how disaster is going to be. My only criticism is that, you know, I think they can take advantage of the law because it's very based on the stuff out there. But the men of Numenor, are these giants of men. Do you know what I mean? 7-8 foot tall, you know, built like brick houses, you know. And there's not, and then you have a look at things like The Witcher and stuff, which have got men of Numenor like proliferating through the whole bloody thing, and yet they can't have any sort of like you could think you'd have a few like, you know, butchy actors that would actually display how powerful the men of Numenor were. But only I think they played it. I think they played the Saruman perfectly. Saruman, Sauron. I think they played it perfectly. I like what they've done with Gabrielle. I think she had to have an edge to her. Yeah. Yes, I mean swimming like 4 oceans across.
I laughed my head off so much.
Yeah, but there are some laughable moments. But I just can't get out of my head that the men of Numenor, like, you know, they've got all this fortune, and yet like The Witcher's got a fraction of it, and yet they've done a better job of, you know, getting a big actor in that would display how powerful the men of Numenor were. That's my only annoyance.
It's very pretty. It is a very pretty series, beautiful. And it has some good edge to it, and I think over time it can only get better.
But honestly, guys, Wheel of Time. I mean, first series of Wheel of Time was a bit, where the hell does it go? But they brought it back around the second series, and the characters got some serious edge to them. I mean, it's 12 books long, you know, if you ever get to read it. But I mean, it is. I mean, the second series, it's got such an edge to it. So good.
Did you? It's one that we always recommend to anybody. Did you ever watch The Expanse?
Yes. Oh.
love the
I
Expanse.
read lots about the Expanse. It's just such a fantastic job, and they get the Science of Space correct.
Yeah, Science of Space, edgy, brilliant plot lines.
Yeah,
Don't know where it's kind of going to go. Absolutely, the Expanse is fantastic. Yeah, really good.
What's his name? The engineer.
Amos.
Yeah,
Amos
he's
Burton.
such a good character. And he's so good, so good.
I once wrote a 3,000-word essay about psychology of Amos Burton.
Yeah,
but that's the problem that you look at because I'm massive. I read fantasy. That's what I read. I read fantasy. I hadn't read because I've watched it on Netflix, which is Shadow and Bone, and I mean, what a series! I mean, absolutely fantastic. One of the better fantasy series on Netflix. Absolutely brilliant. Great plot, great characters, and I picked up the follow-on books. It works for £3 each the other day. It was absolutely brilliant. But that's really good.
My wife and I watched Shadow and Bone, and the premise is great, but we found the characters weren't that brilliantly written. I mean, I found Kez and in our the Gang of Thieves much more interesting.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Than the key characters.
I think they married each other off really, really well. I think if it was just those two characters, they would be brilliant. But because they introduced that Kez and his gang, they orbited each other so well. Really good. Yeah, there was like 2 different plots with them.
If you like your fantasy, have you read any of the Joe Abercrombie First Law books?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh man,
it's brutal.
Yeah,
absolutely brutal. It's brilliantly brutal.
My boss got me onto them, and I remember reading the first one, and I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to get this. And then there's ninth book later, really which just came out. I was just like, that was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely,
yeah, really.
It's just the edge to it, and it's just sort of just the whole thing. It's just it's not even. It's got the edge of sort of Game of Thrones thing where good things do not happen. It's like you think good things are going to happen and they do not happen.
It's one of the best books of sheer brilliant manipulation that I've ever read.
Yeah, big time.
Sheer brilliant manipulation in a grand scale is fantastic.
The wizard, what's his name? Baez, the wizard is absolutely, he's so good. The way he develops throughout all the books and how he appears, it's just he's amazing because you have that view of him on what he is at the start, and then there's the view on him what he is at the end, and you're just oh my god, phenomenal.
Yeah, as I say, the best book of the manipulation that I've ever read. Fantastic.
Yeah, so
really
good. Well done.
But my favourite author, actually I'll put him out there if you haven't read him, is an author called Stephen Erickson. Tales of the Manners and Empire, 10 tomes, but oh my god, I mean, I've read them 4 times and they're just out of this world. But
yeah, give them a whirl. Right, well, we could probably talk about
we took all night. Absolutely. I was looking at your podcast going on, normally I do a podcast that lasts an hour and 10 minutes or something like that, and I'm told when you went, but what if it was 2.5 hours? I'm like, God, that's surely not. But but we're geeks, aren't we? And we can talk. You find kindred spirits, and you talk about your passion and your enthusiasm, and what you love. And we could talk all night. So,
we could too. But yes, we'll leave it there. So the Halloween Night coming to Kickstarter soon.
GameFound is on GameFound now, so it's not launched. We're launching but the draft page is up. You can sign up, you can follow it, or you could go to our webpage MysteryandAdventureGames.com, or go to GameFound and search for Halloween Night, and you can follow our campaign. If you do follow it on GameFound, but then you'll also get a free gift, which would be an art print. If you then do back the game, plus an entry to get your face in the game. But as long as the pre-launch page and stuff is with all the videos and art and stuff is already on GameFound. So.
Amazing. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
really enjoyable.
And and please be nice. And please, if you've received a package from Games Quest and you've enjoyed it and it's come perfectly wrapped, please, why not? Hey,
a good review.
Leave a positive review out there.
A good review.
A positive one out
I feel like I need to give one now. I've had so many over the years. I feel like I need to do it.
You've had loads of me.
I really have.
And you have had loads of me, Peter.
But yes. So for tonight, I've been Matt Geary. With me has been Peter Ray Allison.
Good night, everyone.
and our special guest, Nigel Matthews.
Good night, everybody. And
Night.
Good night. Take care.
Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.